me, Nick, 36. Back-end dev with a neutral expression and a mortgage that screams every month live in a cookie-cutter suburb. Tiny patch of grass. Neighbors wave like they're on payroll. Rachel, 31, my wife, together about 6 years. Married for almost 4 early days, felt stupid easy, like we accidentally unlocked cheat codes for life, used to stay up until 2 a.m. Talking about nonsense that somehow mattered. Weekends meant grocery trips that turned into inside jokes and holding hands by the cereal. First apartment was cramped, but it felt massive because it was ours. She left coffee mugs everywhere like little landmarks. I lined up books by color like a psycho, constant teasing, easy affection. Nothing forced intimacy just happened. No planning, no awkward buildup. Quick kisses in the hallway, like commas in a sentence, random, cuddling on the couch. Because being close felt natural. Sex wasn't some event, just another way of saying we're good little touches, somehow kept bigger problems from ever showing up. Then things shifted, slow and quiet, like fog rolling in, while you're still laughing. Work hours stretched, stress stacked up. Excuses started sounding legit. Her phone showed up at dinner, then stayed on the couch, then followed us to bed. Scrolling replaced conversations? Yeah, replaced actual responses. Bedtime became her turned away from me. Not mad, just not there. My arm around her went from welcome to tolerated kisses turned into quick taps while she was already pulling back. Sex went from random to rare, from excited to maybe later, no big fights. Just constant small no's, like water dripping in a sink. I'm exhausted became the default line. My head hurts became the shield. At first I got it, because yeah, adult life sucks. Sometimes figured helping more would fix it. So I stepped up more cooking, more cleaning, more errands, more I'll handle it. Problem is, nothing changed, distance kept stretching. Anyway, affection started getting rerouted like a help desk ticket. Hug her on the couch, get a light pat like I'm distant family, hand on her leg, gets gently moved like I misplaced it. The gentle part somehow made it worse, no bad guy to blame. Just quiet rejection after enough of that. Trying started to feel embarrassing. You don't need yelling to feel rejected. Silence does. The job fine, house got louder, in a weird way. The kind of loud that's just empty space around then. Her social media turned into a therapy seminar, soft-colored posts about emotional labor. Everywhere podcasts about attachment styles, playing while she washed dishes, new terms started living in our kitchen. Rent-free, weaponized incompetence got thrown at me for buying the wrong almond milk. She'd redo the dishwasher with a sigh, like I failed a test. I'm tired of carrying your mental load, she said, like it was a medical condition. I just stood there confused. I wasn't trying to slack. I was trying to help, helping used to feel like love. Now it felt like failing some invisible checklist. Every interaction turned into a test. I didn't know the rules for, and I kept failing. Eventually knew we had to talk, the kind you rehearse in your head all day. Quiet Sunday, no TV, no phones, just us and coffee at the table. I said it straight, told her the distance was freaking me out, told her the silence felt like it was swallowing. The house told her, yeah, sex matters, but losing it felt like losing what held us together, asked her what she actually needed, asked for specifics because I felt like I was playing. Blind? Her face went calm, like clinical calm, the kind that makes your stomach drop. I'm glad you're finally willing to put in effort, she said. Super even tone sounded like HR reading from a script. Then she dropped the line that stuck in my head. I can't feel desire if I don't see you putting in effort for me. No anger, no attitude, just certainty, like she was commenting on the weather. I asked what effort even meant, because that word hides a million expectations. She said it's not just chores, it's attention, intention, initiative. I want to feel chased, not just expected, she said. Pause, then she added, if you show up more, it'll be easier for me to want you. And just like that, something clicked in a bad way. No paperwork. But it felt like a contract got signed, midair. Sex stopped sounding like connection, started sounding like a reward system. Desire didn't feel shared anymore, felt like something earned after a performance review. No yelling happened, because yelling doesn't fix this kind of thing. I just nodded, her shoulders relaxed like problem solved. She squeezed my hand. That should have meant something, felt like nothing, and that scared me more than a fight would have. That night was just staring at the ceiling and replaying everything. Once you hear intimacy framed like that, you can't unhear it. It colors everything. Desire doesn't survive when it feels transactional. Morning came with this weird calm, like something inside me just shut off. No more chasing, no more hoping, just compliance, clean, simple, emotionless. That day I started trying, just not the way she thought. Kitchen spotless without being asked, laundry done, errands handled before she could mention them, compliments, check-ins, planning. A nice evening looked perfect on paper, but at the same time, something physical just turned off like someone flipped a breaker. No hand on her back when passing by, no kiss on her neck while she cooked, no playful grabs, no lazy couch cuddles, no reaching for her at night, gave her space, like I was navigating a minefield. At first, she seemed satisfied, like effort finally showed up on time. Little smug smile started creeping in. The "see, I told you" kind funny thing, but she barely noticed what disappeared along with it. House had my effort, but none of my heat evenings turned into routines done perfectly. Zero spark, zero pull. Friday rolled around, planned a date night. Because that counts as initiative now, pick some trendy spot, minimalist decor, tiny portions, bill big enough to sting. Held the door for her, pulled out her chair, played the part. Like a polite stranger tried to start conversations, got clean, neutral replies back, asked about work, got "it's fine," with nothing extra. Asked about a show. Got "haven't decided yet." Her face kept shifting all dinner, tight, then relaxed, then tight. Again she started checking her phone like a nervous habit, scrolling with no real focus. Paid the bill, tipped properly. Routine complete, drive home was so quiet you could hear every bump in the road back inside. She hovered in the hallway, waiting moment was obvious. I'd been doing everything right all week. She had that look, like a vending machine should be dropping something. Silence stretched until she finally spoke. "It's been a really good week," she said, soft, almost hopeful. Sounded like she was logging hours on a sheet. I stayed calm because I already knew my answer. "I don't want this to feel like a reward," I said. Her face flickered fast, confusion turning into irritation. "A reward?" she repeated like I insulted her. "I'm gonna read," I said, and walked past her toward the spare room, closed the door, opened a book, heart completely steady. Whatever hit her on the other side of that door probably felt physical. She built a system where intimacy had conditions. Problem is, systems forget one thing: the prize isn't guaranteed. Doing the steps doesn't force desire to show up. Next week started, I kept everything flawless, house clean, errands handled, attention given, checked in, stayed present but touch stayed gone, like it got deleted. Kisses were quick and empty hugs, only happened if she started them, and even then felt careful. Her mood shifted from satisfied to uneasy. Once the pattern clicked, she started watching me more than her phone. Little pauses when she thought I wasn't paying attention. One night she wore a dress I used to love, the kind that used to flip a switch in me. Instantly, she spun in the doorway, playful, familiar, like she was trying to rewind everything. "What do you think?" she asked, forcing brightness. I looked, registered it, nothing sparked. "Looks good," I said, same tone as commenting on wall paint. Silence hit her smile, dipped just a little, another night. She brushed her fingers along my arm in the kitchen light touch, testing the waters. I shifted just enough so her hand missed not dramatic, just gone from where she reached. She looked at me like I switched languages. Later, she asked, "Are you mad at me?" "No," I said, because anger wasn't it anymore. "Then what is this?" Frustration cracking through. "Effort," I said, "the thing you asked for." She blinked at that sounded right, but felt completely wrong. Being technically correct doesn't feel like love. Another Friday showed up. Same routine, same perfect execution restaurant, smiles, polite conversation, no warmth anywhere in it. Back home this time, she tried something different. Stood close, hand flat on my chest. Old me would have leaned in instantly. New me just stood there, waiting. "I want you," she said, like it was supposed to trigger something. I looked at her, then said it quiet, "I don't want this to be payment." Her jaw tightened. "It's not payment," she snapped, louder than she meant. "Then why does it only happen after a good week?" I asked, still calm. No answer came because there isn't a clean one. Night ended with her turning away again. But this time, the tension was hers. Days went by. and she started shifting, felt less like control, more like panic. Phone stayed in the kitchen. More often she started making small jokes again, awkward like relearning how little bits of affection showed up, testing if I'd react hand on my knee during TV, leaning into me on the couch. Everything I'd wanted months ago, now arriving late. An hesitant problem is I couldn't respond. The instinct just wasn't there anymore. You don't just turn desire back on, like a switch one night. She sat next to me. "We need to talk," she said, and there was actual fear in her eyes. Talks used to stress me out. Now it just felt expected. She said she felt lonely, which almost felt ironic in a cruel way, said, "I was there, but not really there." Said she missed how I used to touch her without thinking that line hit sharp. "That version of you didn't listen," she added, trying to go back to old ground. "That version of me was wanted," I said. Steady, her eyes widened a little, because now it wasn't about right or wrong. It was about both of us. She tried switching into therapy language. "I need emotional safety," she said, hands fidgeting. "I'm giving you that," I said. "No pressure, no assumptions, nothing taken." "You're punishing me," she said, voice breaking as tears started forming. "I'm adjusting," I said, "to the rules you set." Silence stretched out. Her breathing got uneven next day after work. Met up with my friend Jason for a beer. Jason's the type who works with his hands and hates fake talk. Bar smelled like grease, an old wood place where people just say things straight. He looked at me once and said, I looked like I was living with a ghost, and everything just came out because holding it in was turning me numb. Laid it all out for him. The distance, the effort talks, how intimacy turned into something conditional. Jason just stared into his beer like it might explain everything. Then he dropped it blunt. "She turned your bedroom into a bonus system," he said. Shook his head. "Nobody stays attracted when they feel controlled. That didn't create anything new. Just said out loud, what I already knew went back home, and the silence felt heavier, because now it had a name." Meanwhile, she started ramping things up. Plan clearly backfired. She started initiating more directly, like urgency replaced whatever logic she had. Before one night, she reached for me in bed, whispered please, like it physically hurt to say it. I stayed still because one word doesn't undo months. "I can't do this if it feels like a transaction," I said quietly. Her tone snapped instantly. "It's not a transaction. It's connection." "Connection doesn't start with earning," I said. She turned away and cried loud enough to fill the room. Didn't make me feel strong, just made me tired, because pain doesn't automatically fix anything. Weeks later, she tried apologizing, but it came out sideways. "Maybe I pushed too hard," she said, not even looking at me. "Maybe you did," I answered, and that simple response hit her harder than yelling would've. Next move was nostalgia. She pulled up old pictures on her phone, us on a beach laughing, her hair all over the place. My arm around her held it up like proof. "Remember this?" she asked, voice small. "Yeah, I remember," I said, but remembering didn't bring it back. One Saturday morning, she made breakfast, sat across from me, like we were dating again, smiling too hard, like she was trying to force life into something dead. "I miss you," she said, finally dropping the buzzwords. "Should have unlocked something, didn't. I miss who we were," I said, because that part was real. She started crying immediately because she heard everything I didn't say. The blow-up came later, random night, normal start, like it always is, lights low, TV on, neither of us paying attention. "Are we ever going to feel normal again?" she asked. "What's normal?" I said. "Touching," she said, voice shaking. "Wanting each other without overthinking it, for once." She sounded like herself, not like something she read online. Something in me softened a little, but not enough. "You told me you couldn't want me unless I earned it," I said. "I was trying to explain what I needed," she said quietly. "What I heard was that I have to qualify just to be wanted," I said. She shook her head, crying harder. "That's not what I meant. It's what happened," I said. And my voice finally cracked a bit. "I spent months reaching for you while you treated me like a chore. Then you gave me conditions and called it growth. That killed something in me." Throat tightened saying it. "And now you want the old version back because your system worked too well." She covered her mouth like she got hit. "I didn't know how else to make you try," she said. "I was trying the whole time," I said. "You just didn't see it until you tied it to sex." Silence dropped heavy after that ugly kind of silence. She wiped her face, then said, So what? You're just never going to touch me again?" I answered calm, because I'd already processed it. "I don't want to touch someone who treats my desire like something I have to earn." Her shoulders just gave out. "I hate myself for this," she whispered, and I believed she meant it. but sorry doesn't rewind anything. That night I packed a bag, quiet, efficient, like it was already decided, went to the guest room, grabbed clothes, toiletries, keys on top. She stood in the hallway, watching like her body forgot how to move. "Where are you going?" she asked, voice thin. "Jason's," I said. "Please don't," she whispered. But it came too late, like a message after the crash already happened. "I can't stay somewhere that feels like I'm earning basic intimacy," I said. Walked out air outside, felt sharp and clean. His couch sucked, but the quiet felt real. Next day I came back for more stuff. She looked wrecked, eyes swollen, hair a mess, like she didn't sleep. Apologies came non-stop, desperate promises. "I'll change, I'll stop talking like that, I'll stop listening to that stuff." "It's not about the podcasts," I said. "It's what you did with it. You showed me how you see me, like something to fix, not someone to trust." She reached for my hand, then stopped halfway. Like she was scared that hesitation said everything because desire doesn't survive fear either few weeks later. Divorce paperwork started, because life doesn't pause just because it hurts. Moved into a small apartment across town, quiet in a different way. Sometimes lonely, but not that crushing kind of loneliness you feel. Next to someone, months went by. Weirdest thing. Started happening, peace showed up in small moments like making coffee without expecting disappointment. Friends asked if I missed her. Answer wasn't simple. Missing someone isn't the same as trusting them. One afternoon at a coffee shop, couple nearby, laughing too loud. Guy reached over, touched her hand. She squeezed back without thinking. Watching, that didn't make me angry. Just clean, kind of sad. Later that week, my phone buzzed. Mutual friend posted something about boundaries and withholding intimacy. Saw, she liked it, stared at that. For a solid minute, she still needed some framework, still needed a way to explain everything, still needed someone to blame. Closed the app, felt like quietly shutting a door, not slamming it. Whole thing boiled down to something simple. Turning desire into leverage kills it. Even if the strategy works, forcing effort doesn't build love. It builds compliance, and compliance looks fine until you realize nobody's choosing you anymore.